Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Today you'll see that I don't have a beer with me, but I am drinking chamomile tea, and there's a reason for that. It's because I have the Rona. So what else can we do today if I'm not gonna taste any beers? I must say I do still have my taste and my sense of smell, but let's say it's not as trustworthy as it ever was. Also had a cold before that, so let's not take any chances and let's talk about a beer book today. Today we're talking about Brussels Beer City, Stories from Brussels Brewing Past by Eoghan Walsh, and I really hope that I'm not butchering your name because he's Irish and it's written Eoghan, and in Flemish that would be Eoghan. So I'm hoping Eoghan Walsh is right. Now, before I talk to you about the book, I'm gonna tell you about some things about Eoghan himself, and about Brussels Beer City as a concept, because it's not just a book. Eoghan is a beer writer, a long-time beer writer, and to illustrate to you guys what he's doing, I'm just gonna read the intro to his website, because, well, it's a bit too much to memorize, and he's the writer. He wrote it a lot better than I could. So, Brussels Beer City is a blog about Brussels and its beer culture. This is not an industry blog, nor is it a beer review site. And I do think it's very important that he emphasizes this, because that's literally not what it is. He writes a bit about the industry, a bit about the history of it. He writes a bit about beers, but he's not a reviewer, he's not a teacher of some kind. So, Eoghan Walsh founded the Brussels Beer City in 2017 and has since gone on to be named Brewdog's Best European Beer Blogger in 2018, British Guild of Beer Writers Young Beer Writer of the Year 2018, and has been awarded silver and bronze medals by the North American Guild of Beer Writers for his writing at Brussels Beer City and Belgian Beer and Food magazine. His work has also been featured in the Irish Times, The Guardian, and in local Brussels media Brus and Brussels Blogt. I know Brus magazine, also a fine magazine. I know most of the things he's talking about here, but Eoghan successfully studied to become a zytoloog, as have I, at Belgian Beer Sommelier at Sintra Brussels, has taken part as a judge in the Brussels Beer Challenge, and organizes the semi-regular Brussels Bottle Share in conjunction with Fermentings. In his day job, he runs communications for German Development NGO, working on sexual health. So he's quite an engaged guy. He's still pretty young, but I don't just like the way that he built out his concept, I also love the way that he writes. Now, in the beginning, when I first read about Brussels Beer City as a book, well, I completely fell in love with this lovely book cover. Of course, I will incorporate it somewhere in this video, because it's the old Wielemans brewery. The building is still there in Brussels. If you take a tour or if you just go walk besides the water, you will see this building. But I love his writing style as well. He writes for everyone. He doesn't get technical, he doesn't get way too big, he doesn't fall over his words, and I like that. I first read about this book as being a collection of his blogs, but that's not entirely true. It's not a best of his blog. It's there are blogs in here and there is a collection, but yeah, he just made a nice book with remarkable facts about the Brussels beer culture and the Brussels beer scene, starting from the beginning until now, actually, and that's what I find very interesting. There were also several surprises in this book. For example, some political figures, Belgian as well as African, as well as some other places. And let me just read the back text of the book. For example, Johnny Garrett, the beer writer of the year 2019, so Eoghan's follow-up, wrote few stories as remarkable as the complicated love affair Brussels has with beer. And that's rather true, but you'll have to read the book for that. But in some parts of history there was a love-hate relationship even. The history of beer in Brussels is the history of modern Brussels, from medieval backwater to a national capital, from an artisanal tradition to industrial powerhouse and back again in 200 years. Brussels brewing has had a tumultuous past, rich in characters and stories, from the brewery that once employed Patrice Lumumba, remember about the political figures I said, to the activists who fought tooth and nail to save Brussels' rich industrial heritage, and the brewery chairman engaged in skullduggery and bribery, and a bit of soccer. And all of it in the service of beer, lambic and gueuse, pale ales and pilsners, and everything in between. This collection by award-winning writer Eoghan Walsh brings to life the family dynasties, the brewers and the activists that sought to keep his legacy alive into the 21st century. Sláinte. Now I must say that I'm also a zytoloog, like a light version of what Americans call a cicerone, but at least knowledgeable about beer, let's call it that. And I've been blessed with a teacher that's a very good storyteller and also a historian, also a founding member of the Antwerp Beer College, and they are a group of, well, beer fanatics and historians that write or publish books about beer and beer history. So you can imagine that I already knew quite a bit. I've also been blessed with the chance to talk to Frank as well as Jos Boom from Boom Breweries, from the Heus Boom. And yet still this book is full of amazing stories that I didn't know. I've learned some new things. Things about, for example, La Seine, the tiny river that flowed through Brussels, not to be confused with La Seine in Paris, of course. Some political stories, some stories involving old real estate, old bars, old breweries that are still there, may or not, that are still there, or some that aren't, some that are in ruins, some that are converted into modern office buildings and stuff. But it's a very lovely book. I believe it's available on Amazon or straight from the Brussels Beer City website. Well, might I recommend you buy it there, support Eoghan a bit more instead of Jeff Bezos. But yeah, apart from that, great book. I can only recommend this. It's a fun little book. It's actually a tiny book and it's divided into some tiny chapters, like 6, 8, 10, 12 pages long. It has some very nice illustrations in there, some old photos, some new photos. Again, I absolutely love it. And for me, it was also a great book to read when I was on the train or in public transportation, because it has short chapters. I could read entire chapters or entire stories while I was in transit. So yeah, guys, there we go, the old Bellevue Brewery. For example, I just opened page 53 here, and the title is Monsieur Constant. Now, I did drop the word soccer before, and this is a story about Constant van de Stok. I'm not going to read the whole story because, well, it's not that long, but you'll have to read it yourself. But it's just one of the figures in Belgium that mixed politics, industrialism, and soccer to a great, yeah, he became a great name. He even has his own Constant van de Stok Stadium. So the title of this chapter is Monsieur Constant, How One Man Defined Brussels Beer and Football for a Century. I believe that rounds it up. So yeah, I'll include the links down here. If you guys want to hear more about beer books, I still have about 50 books in my closet that I will review at some point. Like, subscribe, leave a comment here. If you read the book, what did you think about it? If you ordered the book, say hi to Eoghan for me. And yeah, I'm gonna enjoy my chamomile tea with Duvel honey a bit more, and I hope I can taste beers very soon again because it is kind of half my job. So cheers you guys, see you in the next video.